there seems to have been special emphasis on logistics and connectivity for Ayodhya. We've seen the construction of a new international airport, the expansion of the railway station, good roads and so on. So today, for more on what the initial response has been like on all of this, I'm in conversation with Dhruv Shringi, whole-time director and CEO of online travel platform Yatra. So thank you so very much for taking time out for this today.
Thank you for having me, Pallavi.
So, this is a special show and we did want to focus a little bit on Ayodhya and what's happening. We've seen a slew of public and private investments, especially in a bid to improve logistics and connectivity. Consequently, we've already seen airlines introduce direct flights from multiple metropolitan cities at least, along with improvement in train connectivity and bus services. So I do want to start off by asking, what's the initial response looking like on the platform?
So as you rightly pointed out, Pallavi, there is a significant improvement in infrastructure and connectivity which has happened with regards to Ayodhya over the course of the past year or so. Now, obviously, we are seeing an international airport which is fully functional over there. We are seeing domestic flight connectivity both from Delhi and Mumbai, which has started. And we've also seen the Vande Bharat train coming into the picture. Over the course of this year, I think it's expected that we will have almost 15 Vande Bharat trains flying into Ayodhya. So if I just look at the data for the first 2 weeks of this month, we've already seen almost a 4x jump, a 4-time jump in the number of queries and searches which are happening for Ayodhya. So Ayodhya is definitely very, very topical right now. It's absolutely top of mind for most people who are looking at, a religious or a religious plus kind of destination from a travel perspective. If you look at, the road connectivity as well from Lucknow, it's about a 2.5 to a 3-hour drive from Lucknow to Ayodhya. So we are seeing renewed interest in terms of people looking at Ayodhya maybe as a starting point and then, going to places like Lucknow. The hotel infrastructure in Ayodhya is still coming up. So I think we are seeing people who are showing interest in using then Lucknow as a base if they're not finding a good hotel in Ayodhya, and then doing the journey from Lucknow into Ayodhya as a day trip.
Okay, all right. I know it's initial days. The consecration is on Monday, and full-fledged bookings for regular tourists will start only after that. They will be able to come into the temple only post that. But would it be possible to, at this point, get some sense of what it's looking like in terms of advance hotel bookings or flight bookings or train bookings maybe?
So if I look at the flight booking numbers, right, the forward booking numbers, and if I look at the last week of this month versus the first maybe 2 weeks of this month, we are seeing almost a 4x jump in terms of the number of flight bookings that we are seeing for this period. So there is obviously a significant amount of incremental traffic and demand right now on the flight bookings for Ayodhya. On the hotel side as well, there is a significant jump, a similar kind of jump that we are seeing for hotels. The only caveat for hotels is that the hotel infrastructure in Ayodhya is still fairly limited. There are only a handful of properties that are available in Ayodhya today. So hotel infrastructure is more limited, but because of the road connectivity from Lucknow, we are seeing, people maybe opting for Lucknow as a starting point and then from there driving into Ayodhya.
Okay, all right. And I do want to ask you if Yatra too has curated any special tourist packages for Ayodhya, or if something along those lines is in the works.
No, absolutely. We've already curated them. They're already up on the portal. As I said, there is a very strong demand for Ayodhya in particular. And I think what has also happened is Ayodhya has maybe brought the entire religious travel and pilgrimage travel in the country into the mainstream right now. Because not only is Ayodhya seeing a significant bump, we are seeing all other major religious destinations also seeing a very meaningful, jump at this point as compared to the previous year. And I'm talking about, the lowest I'm seeing is about a 35% jump in demand, and the highest I'm seeing is almost 120% jump in demand. So it's pretty much across all religious destinations right now that we are seeing a meaningful improvement and lift in terms of demand.
I think that's extremely interesting commentary, and that's also along the lines of what we've been hearing from, say, for instance, government officials too. Do you think this renewed interest in religious tourism is because of the temple? I mean, I'm wondering, I am trying to understand what's the cause behind this.
I think the temple is one part of it. The other part which is there is that this has brought to the forefront the fact that infrastructure is improving significantly in these places. I think till now there is always a perception that tourists carry that the infrastructure in religious and pilgrimage destinations is still not really up to the mark. But what we are seeing out here, especially with the airport and then with the road connectivity which is being built and is already open, the road connectivity is already open. It's showing that there is world-class infrastructure which is being built around these destinations as well. So I think that is one big change that is happening, that it's just brought to the forefront the entire aspect of the improvement in infrastructure, which otherwise people might not have realized.
That's true. That's a fair point. I do want to ask you, and I get that it's early days at this point, but the expectation is that we will see a little bit of overseas tourism as well. People from the overseas as well, of course, largely comprising NRIs, are showing interest to travel to Ayodhya. Are early trends suggesting that for you as well?
See, definitely for our inbound business, especially out of markets like the UK and the US, more so the US right now, there is, at least the number of queries have gone up pretty significantly. The materialization is still relatively low, but the queries, and because as you can understand, for international travelers coming into India, even if you're an NRI, it's a rather planned event. So from that perspective, the fact that there is a meaningful bump up in queries means that over the course of the next 12 months, we will see demand actually materialize.
Sure, okay. So we are barely about a couple of weeks into this year. Last year, we saw some stupendous figures in terms of domestic tourism, especially, say, on long weekends. What is your expectation for this year? What's it looking like?
I think we should continue to see that same kind of momentum on domestic travel that we saw last year. I don't see any indication for that to change. I also feel, what's happened is that a number of the state tourism boards are doing a much better job in terms of promoting the destinations, and with the better connectivity on account of the domestic airlines expanding continuously, that will continue to provide strong impetus to the domestic tourism sector.
Okay, got it. You did mention that there has been renewed interest in religious tourism, not just for sites in Uttar Pradesh, but across the country. Now, for Ayodhya and across the country as well, how much of a difference is this expected to make for the platform?
See, if I look at what has historically been the case for India, religious travel has been one of the largest sectors in terms of travel and tourism in India. Till now, this sector has been broadly serviced offline, but I think this is one particular year where we are seeing a significant jump in the online queries as well. Because what is happening with the improvement in infrastructure, with the improvement in air connectivity, the premium rail connectivity, there is a different kind of customer base as well, which is looking at these destinations now, who, as I said earlier, might not have prioritized them from an infrastructure perspective. Given that now you're seeing better quality hotels in a lot of the religious destinations, you have easy flight connectivity into a number of religious destinations, right? That is leading to a different subset of people also who may have wanted to do religious travel but have not done so coming into the sector. And that is then boding really well for the online travel world.
All right, that's about it from my end. Thank you so very much for taking time out for this and for telling us about a whole host of these interesting trends. We'll keep in touch over the next few days to get some kind of a check on how it's going.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.